Search goes on for the victims of the Pan Am disaster. Meningitis scare, lab staff work through holidays to check swabs. And the story behind a special Christmas kiss. Good evening. As crash investigators from both sides of the Atlantic step up their efforts to unravel the mystery of why Pan Am's flight number 103 crashed onto the border town of Lockerbie, relatives of some of the Americans killed in Britain's worst ever air disaster have now arrived in Scotland. But the emergency services are being hampered by crowds of sightseers who are flocking to the scene of the devastation and causing tailbacks of up to 5 miles on the one northbound carriageway still open on the A74. Meanwhile, help has been promised by the government for the survivors of the tragedy, and locally efforts are being made to provide accommodation and counselling for those who need it. We've 3 reports from Lockerbie this evening, the first from David Whitton, who has been looking at the official investigations which are now underway.
Air crash experts from both Britain and the United States have spent the day combing through the wreckage of the ill-fated Pan Am Flight 103. And much time has also been spent flying over the scene in a bid to pinpoint the trail of havoc. 2 senior representatives from the American airline also arrived in Lockerbie this morning to begin making their own inquiries. There are now over 40 experts at the scene, but the man leading investigations was reluctant to be drawn on possible causes of the disaster.
I think to try and prejudge at this case would be totally wrong. There obviously are a number of potential causes for an in-flight breakup. We are looking for evidence to try and point us in the right direction. To suggest that it would be one or the other at this stage would be wrong.
But have you found anything yet which tends to strengthen the sabotage theory?
We have no evidence whatsoever yet of sabotage.
Overnight, it had been left to police to stand guard over bodies and bits of wreckage, which are strewn all over the countryside within a 15-mile radius of the border town. In the cold light of day, the debris was only again too visible. Bits and pieces of the jumbo jet fuselage lay where they'd fallen 36 hours before. Young soldiers were detailed to pick their way through the streets, looking for any vital pieces. In the hills above the town, there was further evidence of the trail of destruction. And down below, policemen were picking their way through the shattered remains of what had been a neat row of houses. 17 local people are still posted missing, including 4 children. The investigators spent a lot of time today at Tundergarth, where the aircraft cockpit crashed to the ground. It may still hold information that will help to determine just what went wrong. Here too the grim task of recovering bodies went on, with continuing speculation that those who died were the victims of a terrorist bomb. Every piece of evidence and every body has to be examined carefully before being removed. The hunt for clues and bodies will be continued until investigators are satisfied they've enough material to try and determine just what happened to the 747 jet, Clipper made of the seas. But they know too their onerous task will have to continue through Christmas and into the new year.